The next question goes to Mr. Knopf, starting out. Findlay gets a sizable chunk of money most years from the estate tax. Since the amount can vary significantly from year to year, this money is generally used for community improvement or development projects. The Ohio legislature is considering abolishing the estate tax to make Ohio a more attractive place to live and do business. This is a two-part question. Do you agree or disagree with the city's current use of the estate tax funds? And second, do you think ending the estate tax is a good idea or a bad idea?
In response to the first question, do I think it's a good idea to use those funds for that specific purpose? I would say yes. I would have to support, community development, in any shape and form. And obviously, the city leaders felt that that was a good source of revenue in order to, achieve that. Do I support the elimination of an estate tax per se? Well, if your goal is to entice people to move into Ohio, and our representatives down in Columbus feel that it would be a wise move in order to achieve that, I would hope that the issue would be put before the voters in Ohio to determine for themselves whether or not to keep it or to eliminate it.
Thank you. Mr. Sehnert, the same question. Whether or not you agree or disagree with the city's current use of the estate tax, and do you think ending the estate tax, as the state plans or is looking at doing, is a good idea or a bad idea?
Well, I believe that the state taxes usually go into capital improvements, which benefits all the citizens of Findlay. So I do agree with the use of the funds going in there. Granted, it's not guaranteed, and so if it were to cease, of course, then there would be a chunk there that we're used to that we don't have. So it will affect the city. Personally, I don't like being taxed any more than anybody else. And when I die, I want my money to go to my family. But as an elected official, I would have the whole city to think about, just not myself. And I believe that it would be up to the people to decide what to do with that tax should it come down to individual counties, say, to do away with the tax or not to do away with it. I think we'd have to look at the pros and cons. How many people or industry are we going to get in by not having it because we don't have it and they settle here? So it's a hard question to really answer, but I think that the state just did a new budget. I'm not sure if they're going to cut that tax right away out of the state budget. I think it would be pretty sizable. So, but I do believe that it would be up to the people to decide if that was taken away.
This question directed first to Mr. Sehnert. During the August flood, we've noticed that a lot of people buy homes in the floodplain, even though it's risky to do so. One reason is because houses in the floodplain tend to be less expensive. Does Findlay have enough decent, low-cost housing? Is there anything the city can or should do to encourage more of this type of development? Mr. Sehnert.
Well, housing, there are a lot of housing developments in town. If they're affordable or not, I think that there could be some more affordable housing built. I know that the one avenue that we don't pursue a lot is using the Habitat for Humanities. All they need is a site, and they have the volunteers to build. And if you meet their specifications, that's an avenue that we could use a lot. As far as low-cost housing, I believe that we have a lot of apartment housing that maybe, I believe, we have an overflow on that. But the actual housing, I think we have plenty of houses that are open. I can't say what I feel about the if their benefit, if the housing is low. I mean, the cost is low. I don't control what people charge for their rent or for their house. I know that there's plenty of housing out there, though.
And the same question to Mr. Knopf. Do we have enough decent low-cost housing, and what can or should the city do to encourage more of that type of development?
Well, looking at the Courier and the ads in there regarding houses for rent, houses for sale, apartments for rent, both furnished and unfurnished, I believe that that represents, well, it shows to me that there is an abundance of housing available. Now, whether it's low cost housing, that's, that can be debated from here till tomorrow. Markets will unfortunately dictate what a landowner can get for their apartment, get for their house as far as rent. I hate to go to a property owner and say, I'm sorry, you got to lower your rent just so someone can, afford to come in. What I would like to see, though, is more true, actual low-income housing that will help benefit those who aren't able to pay $400, $500, $600 a month for a small two-bedroom apartment.
Thank you. Our next question is,